Hey, soul survivors, we are going to have an I love you chat. We're going to talk about the pretty privilege, where we are in our healing process. So spend a few moments with me because I just saw this video about this lady who was overweight and she lost quite a bit of weight. It was in kilograms. I think it was around 50 pounds that she lost. And she had said that things that I have learned is that, you're never going to meet society's standards. You're going to have some loose skin. And, she started reconnecting. People started reaching out to her. They wanted to be friends with her again now that she was more of societal's norm. And we have to remember that everybody has different views of what beauty is. There is a pretty privilege out there. So a lot of us strive for that, whether it's the right kind of haircut, the right kind of body, the right kind of clothes. And unfortunately, in society, it does get you places. It really does. Even height. They did studies on men that are over 5'10", or taller men, each inch related to $750 more per year. Now, this study was done maybe around 8 to 10 years ago. So it could be 750, maybe $1,000 just by being an inch taller. It's seen as more authoritative and it has nothing to do with the person. And society is missing out on who people are. When we get in these relationships with the narcissist, it's kind of like that pedestal stuff. We with our narcissists, we're on top of the world on these pedestals. We kept them up there and they brought us down. So we see them in the same light, but they see us in a different light. So they start demeaning us. They see us as like a worshiper or a follower, some kind of peasant in their life to do little services for us. And they become demanding. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And I'm going to take my sweater off so you guys can see my little screen thing is. I shouldn't have worn a green sweater. But we have to build our self-esteem up. So it is good to be healthy, to be fit, things like that, but don't put so much emphasis on it because I've noticed that, and this isn't meant to be judgmental, but based on society's standards, my uglier friends or my out of shape friends, those are the ones that have these really good relationships. So those are the relationships that aren't superficial. So sometimes there is a blessing. And, we have to remember that people are going to love us for who we are because looks fade and we're never going to live up to society's standards. There's always going to be that one or two people that are more attractive or more fit. And we have to have the confidence to put our best foot forward and to realize that we're acceptable just as we are. And that when we love ourselves, it all falls into place. We're going to be healthier anyways. We're not going to comfort overeat as much. We're not going to be as depressed or stressed and not wanting to eat or staying in bed all day where we don't have the energy to healthy food. When we get back into a balance, we're going to have more energy because of the nutrients are what they should be. We're not going to be sluggish because we're eating salty or sugary snacks. We're not going to have those ups and down crashes because we're not eating right. And when we develop relationships, I just got done doing a podcast about female narcissists. Now, it can be male or female, but a lot of those relationships get really really quickly made. And a lot of it is based on attraction, kind of physical attraction. And sometimes we can confuse sex or romance for true love. And the narcissist is manipulative. They make it going so quick. So we get caught up in that whirlwind. We get swept off our feet. The narcissist takes a snapshot of who they think that we are. And they stick that in their mind, and that is concrete to them. We're the most beautiful person, or the funniest, or the most giving, whatever it is. So when you go through life and your ups and downs, whether you just had a child, so you're possibly out of shape, or maybe you go through a depression mode because you lost a parent, the narcissist wants you at this snapshot. And that's when they start devaluing you. They don't realize you're human. They keep that snapshot of this perfect person, but nobody's perfect. And they don't see the effort that we're doing. They see the negatives. Like you could work and work and work, and if you're $5 short on the paycheck, you're a loser. You clean the entire house, but you didn't have a chance to put the towels away. You're a terrible housemaker. They don't see things in the positive aspect. But we have to stay true to ourselves and know that we did everything we could, and to realize that we can either stay in a toxic relationship where the narcissist is like a needy child. And, sometimes we get caught up so much in the love. But I'll tell you what, as a teacher, I love teaching. It is exhausting. The kids are so needy, and the way they communicate is not the right way. They're very unable to follow directions. You have to remind them constantly, because whatever direction you tell them, they understand for a moment and then it leaves their brain. And that's what the narcissist is like. And it will exhaust you, because we see an adult. And I've given this scenario about my cousin. He passed away at age 30 from COVID, but he had what's known as the Superman syndrome. I can't remember, Klinefelter's or something like that. Klinefelter's. But he has XYY chromosome, and he had the rarest form of it, which was XXYY. So he was infertile, wasn't able to reproduce. He was also cognitively delayed. Sweetheart, super sweetheart. He was also, they have extra strength. He was 6'11", extremely heavy. He might have even been 650, 700 pounds, but health issues, all those kind of things. But sweetheart. But when he was growing up, he was 4 years old, looked like a 12-year-old. And people expected him to look like a 12-year-old or act like a 12-year-old. That was outside of his realm. He could not do that. And that, I'm sure caused some stress in him. Like, what is going on? I'm only 4 years old. And other people looking at him, they had expectations. Now, when we're in a loving relationship in the adult sense, we have expectations of, we're both going to do our part. We're both going to communicate. We're going to love each other. We're going to get through the good or bad times till death do us part, whatever it is. But in the childlike state, they want to do their own things. They need to break rules, to test boundaries, to see where they are at, to see what they're able to progress, because we always give kids more privileges as they get older. They test the boundaries. Where am I at in life? Where am I at? Where am I at? Where am I growing? Where am I going? And our narcissist is stuck in that childlike mentality where they have to push buttons. They have to test their limits. They're trying to grow, but they're growing at the frustrations of other people. When you're in a good relationship, you grow together. In a child, they grow to separate. The child, and take this to heart, the child grows to separate. In a loving relationship, you grow together to live throughout the rest of your lives together. They must discard. That's why relationships will last for only a certain amount of time before they either physically or emotionally discard. It's that growth that they're longing for from childhood. And they will see you as the maternal figure, whether you're male or female, and they will need to finish growing emotionally at your expense. So we have to realize that to have a successful relationship, we have to be whole within ourselves. We have to keep those boundaries, and they can stay with us or they can go. They have that option. But we have to remember we have that option too. A lot of us, I see this over and over again. Well, if he doesn't like it, then he can leave. But we don't like it, and we're waiting for them to leave. That's putting the pressure on them. We might not want to take accountability for the breakup. Narcissists sometimes too don't want to take that accountability. That's why they push the limit until we're so miserable that we leave. So we have to assess what our needs are. We have one life. And, the saddest part about all of this is that shared fantasy is possible, but we can spend the rest of our lives trying to get back to that. But once there's any little devaluation, the narcissist will see that we're not meeting up. We're not the person or this facade that they thought we were. They see us as an object, somebody to use if we don't serve their needs. You see kids all the time, and I talk about kids. I love them, and they're growing. So you got to remember they're growing and learning. But the narcissist is stuck in that stage. And there's cognitive empathy where they can kind of understand, oh, your dad died. I guess I got to say I'm sorry. I see everybody else saying I'm sorry. I guess it's my turn to say I'm sorry. But they don't understand your pain because your pain takes up their time. So they can go through it, but they don't feel your pain. And they even think that that would be the most miserable thing to feel other people's emotions. So they tune those out. They don't want to feel your emotions. Sometimes too, it's even the celebratory emotions. I got a new promotion. And if it gives money to them, they might be excited, but if it takes away time and they have to kind of up their game, maybe watching the kids an extra 6 hours a week, they're going to resent you for it because of how it affects their life. They're not concerned about your life. We sit here and give them empathy, like, man, I don't want them to travel, but I guess that they have to for their work. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. And it's two different types of people. There's a giver and a taker instead of a union. So when we build our self-esteem, we attract what we should have. And we talk in a way that will just manifest that. When we're in the healing process, we have to start changing the way that we talk. Instead of saying I'm a victim, say I'm a survivor. Use concrete words like I'm getting through this, not I hope I'm getting through this. We have to give ourselves the faith that we need, the strength that we need, and just the shift in our mindset is crucial. It's crucial. And that will help us get past the grieving process to complete that cycle. So instead of hoping for the past, we have to focus on the future. We're looking in the wrong way. If you ever see runners and they keep looking back, that slows them down. And a lot of times that causes them to lose the race. We have to keep our eyes forward, our projection forward, and that's how we win. So have faith that you are so valuable, that it's okay to be alone. And as you're alone, you're going through the process. You're building yourself up to be the best husband, wife, life mate, whatever it is. But you're at your optimum. And take the time to invest instead of being caught up. So set your boundaries. I'm not going to have sex for 3 months, 4 months until we get married, whatever works for you. But a lot of times people fall into that trap too quickly. It's hard to resist. But once you cross that line, it shifts the focus on the physical and the communication. But if you have a strong, what's the word? Baseline, I guess, strong foundation of the communication, that's when, the glue's already there. the foundation is stable and you can build upon that. But if you try to build upon sand where it's not a strong foundation, it'll always crumble. So I just wanted you guys to know that you're extremely special. And, this pretty privilege is fleeting anyways. And, be careful of people who weren't there when you needed them. Like, I feel bad for that girl that, that's sometimes why we feel like we're only valuable if we fit into societal norms. But I'm 52, never married, and I see people who are physically not as in shape as me, or societally not as in looks, whatever. Not that I'm the best person out there, but um, and they've had really stable relationships. Um, so there's hope for everybody, no matter what you look like, no matter what your body shape is. And it comes down to the connection and who your soul is. So if you are overly sympathetic, empathetic, be cautious you don't give too much. We talk about that giving tree by Shel Silverstein, where you give too much, you end up with nothing. If I gave away $5 to everybody I met, it's $5. What's the big deal? I can come up off of $5. I don't have anything for myself. And nobody's taking care of me because I'm the giver. That it destroys us, it destroys our own foundation. And that leads to depression, anxiety, possibly impulsivity or eating disorders or other types of coping mechanisms that we need because we gave too much. So give and love, but protect yourself first. Lots of love to you guys. One-on-ones are available. Healing takes time, but you're worth it. And, comment below, what are 3 things that are special about you? Because I believe in you. One-on-ones are available. Please helps with the algorithm, share, and subscribe if you'd like to have more of this content. See you soon.